We are live. It's Bake Along time. I live for a good Bake Along. I'm so excited this day has come. We
Yeah,
are, I know, right? We are a moment or two early. Actually, we're not anymore now. It's 2 o'clock on the dot in my Eastern time zone here. We are not early anymore. I was having some technical difficulties, and so I thought better to be early than late. That's kind of my motto in life. So I have a special guest today. I'm so excited. If you've ever done an Outschool Bake Along, you know me. I'm the old face who's always here, who's always baking and loving life in my kitchen. But today I have a new friend. I would love to introduce Kaylee. Welcome, Kaylee. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I know we're in the kitchen and we're getting ready to bake s'more cookie bars. What could be not good in life, right?
Yeah, especially during the summer. S'mores are key.
Exactly. And the reason that I chose s'more cookie bars for this month is because it is the Great Outschool Campout this month. And so that means we have s'more cookie bars this week. The rest of this month in the parent community, we're doing paper quilling, which I'm super excited about. I've never done paper quilling before, and I need another hobby. Like I need a hole in my head, but I'm excited to pick up another hobby. So
Yeah,
my beginner paper quilling kit has arrived. We're doing an event about sketching a nature journal. We have an event about telling the perfect campfire story. So we have all sorts of awesomeness coming up for us this month.
I actually have a beginner's quilling kit and it is so much fun. It has an automatic quiller, so you just put in a small piece of paper, press the button, and it quills it for you.
That's so cool. I haven't opened my kit yet, so I don't know if mine has that. Today I'll have to open it. It came the other day from Amazon, and I've just had a busy week, so I haven't opened it yet. But I'm super excited. So the funny thing is, I work on the team at Outschool that handles a lot of the social media things that come in, responding to messages and things like that. And so that's how I learned about the paper quilling class because the teacher who posts that and a couple of the learners who were in it are always posting cool updates from quilling class. And so when I was planning events for the Great Outschool Campout, I said to her, "Hey, can you do a campfire or something really cool related to that?" Look how cool.
I quilled this. A butterfly, a lily, a dragonfly, and another flower.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm really excited because that's beautiful. Although I don't have hopes that on my first day I will do something that spectacular, but I will give it my best shot. Um, So I learned about paper quilling through social media, through the Outschool social media channels. And that's how I learned about you, Kaylee, also, because I would see your updates after your cooking classes. You have a YouTube channel and you do all sorts of cooking videos and you take a bunch of cooking classes on Outschool. So how did you find Outschool for cooking classes, Kaylee? Was it something that mom kind of was like, this looks super cool, try it?
I really wanted to learn how to cook, and Mom looked up some ideas and she found out school.
We are so happy you did. It's awesome. And you entered our film festival was that last month or the month I think it was the month before now already. Time flies. What did you enter in the film festival, Kaylee?
I made Yummalicious French toast.
I love it. And Yummalicious is kind of your tagline, right?
Yeah, it's yummy and delicious, smushed together into one word. And did you know that French toast isn't actually French?
Where does it come from?
Rome. They fried bread, eggs, and butter in a pan, and voila, magically French toast appeared.
French toast. And I think French fries, if I'm not mistaken, I'm working off the top of my head, but I think French fries are originally from Belgium, maybe. So I wonder how the French get credit for all of these amazing foods if they didn't create them. That's an interesting thing to look into.
Yeah, I mean, oh, no, never mind.
Interesting. That is so, I did not know that. Now you've given me something to look into tonight. I'll be on my phone Googling that at night when I should be going to bed, but my curiosity is running amok, right? Well,
Yeah.
welcome everyone. So, Let's see. We are making s'more cookie bars today. I'm super excited. This is a pretty easy recipe. If you responded to the event on Facebook, you will see the ingredient list that is there. I will be baking along with Kaylee. You can bake along with us at home. Pop any questions that you have into the comments, and we will do our best to answer them throughout the bake along. But the very first thing we're going to do, Kaylee, is preheat our ovens to 375. So if you haven't already done so, I did mine beforehand, but I did it to 350 because my brain just kind of defaults to 350 for baking. But I just remembered it's 375.
Yeah, and that's in the Fahrenheit scale.
Fahrenheit scale. Yeah, don't ask me what it is in Celsius. I think 350 is 180 because I see that one an awful lot, but I don't know.
190 degrees.
There you go. Thank you very much. I love it. So we are going to start getting our pan ready. All right. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get our pan ready. Now, in the instructions, I had listed a 9x13 pan for baking. Now, when Kaylee and I were backstage getting ready, I opened my box of graham crackers. Now, I ordered gluten-free graham crackers. And anybody out there who's gluten-free, you will know that the package is usually half the size and twice the price. So I ordered gluten-free graham crackers. And when I opened it up and went to go get my pan out, I was like, there's no way this measly little amount of graham crackers is filling a 9x13 pan. So I'll be baking a slightly smaller gluten-free cookie today, or a gluten-free cookie bar. But Kaylee is going to rock the regular size pan. Now you have two options. You can line your pan with parchment paper, or if you don't have parchment paper in hand, go ahead and just give that a spray with some cooking oil spray. Either one works. I had originally ripped some parchment paper, but I got a really big piece for my 9x13 pan, so I'm just going to spray it instead of trying to cut down my parchment paper on the fly here. I'm just going to give my pan a quick spray. There you go, Kaylee.
My parchment paper doesn't want to fold.
It gives you a little bit of a hard time until you start getting some weight on it sometimes, right? It is pretty stiff and crunchy paper. All right, so I've sprayed my pan. Kaylee's put some parchment paper in her pan. And the next thing we're going to do is take about 8 graham crackers. Now, that's assuming you have 8 regular sized graham crackers. I have mini me gluten-free graham crackers. They're teeny tiny. We're going to take about 8 graham crackers and we're going to line them up in the bottom of our pan. So we're going to get the first one down there in the corner, just like that. And we're just going to cover the bottom of our tray with graham crackers. We've got a hello from Cool Gamer in the comments there. Cool Gamer, I love it that you always tune in and watch us when we're live. Thank you so much for joining us. If one of your graham crackers breaks, it's okay. You can just kind of slot it back together by its neighbor. There you go. And it's about 8 graham crackers, but if you need a little bit more or a little bit less, that's okay too. Everybody's pan might be a slightly different size.
Yep.
I'm all about working with what you have. Makes life easier, doesn't it, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Although sometimes going out and buying cool kitchen gadgets is fun too.
Yeah. Like an automatic can opener.
That is definitely a handy gadget to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like it. Ooh, we're sampling as we go. I love it. Excellent. How will you know if it's good if you don't quality test it, right? Exactly. All right. So our pan looks like that. We've got graham crackers in the bottom of our pan. How's yours coming along, Kaylee? Look good?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. I love it. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to mix up our butter and our sugar in a bowl. So this bowl, my friends, anybody who's watching, we're eventually going to add more things to it. So you're going to want to grab a bowl that's a decent size. Sometimes you grab a small bowl and then we start saying, add this, add that, add this. And you're like, oh no, my bowl's overflowing. So go a little bigger. That looks like a good size bowl, Kaylee. I like it.
it's one of the biggest bowls I have.
There you go. I am using the one that goes into my KitchenAid mixer. So easy peasy, not a lot of choice there. And we are going to add to this bowl 1 cup of butter, which in the US, it's pretty standard that that's 2 sticks of butter. Sometimes if you buy really fancy butter, the measurement might be different, but generally speaking, it's 2 sticks of butter. And then let's do butter first. I'm going to grab mine. It's at the other end of the counter. I set it out there to soften and forgot to move it down to this side of the kitchen. So let's start with that. We're going to add our 2 sticks of butter. So this is a half and another half. So that's a whole cup of butter. Yum. And I'm going to have way more batter than I need since I ended up doing a tiny pan because of my graham crackers. Go ahead, Kaylee.
Oh, I know that you should never use salted butter unless the recipe specifically calls for salted butter, because you don't know how much salt is in the salted butter.
So I'm a bit of a baking rebel, Kaylee, and I almost always bake with salted butter because salty and sweet is my favorite combination ever. Like, have you ever taken one of those like pretzel rods that has the really chunky salt on it that's really crunchy and like dipped those in chocolate or whatever, done like chocolate covered pretzels? They are
hockey sticks.
Yes, they are so good. And that's the salty and sweet coming together. So it's interesting because when I make buttercream and stuff like that, I always use salted butter. So I am definitely a baking rebel. And it was funny because my kids know that because I've been baking professionally for years and years and years. That's the first thing I ever did on Outschool was teach baking. And it was so funny because my daughter was watching some show on Netflix, like one of those, it wasn't Nailed It, but it was like one of those types of shows that came out afterwards. And this one team, they were competing and they accidentally used salted butter and it was too late to do anything about it. So they were freaking out the whole time. They were like, oh my goodness, this is a disaster, blah, 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 right? Gets to the end. My daughter was watching it and she was like, it'll be fine, right? Because she knows, because she's eaten my baked goods for so long. And they got to the end and the judges were like, this is incredible. That hint of salt is amazing. And I was like, yes, it is. Right? So I always bake with salted butter. But again, I'm a little bit of a rule breaker. All right, so we've got our 2 sticks of butter or 1 cup of butter in our bowl. Beautiful, Kaylee. And we are going to add 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. So that's our white kind of crystallized sugar. It's different than powdered sugar. And we're adding 3/4 of a cup. So when you bake, friends, you want to get a nice level scooper at the top, right? I love these containers because you can kind of level off your scoop against the container, which makes it really handy. Since they still sell sugar in those awful paper bags that make a giant mess every time you open them. I don't know why someone hasn't invented a better way of selling sugar yet, but they haven't. Maybe
it can't be recycled and it's good for the environment.
That is true, but they do make a giant mess and it's hard for leftovers. All right, so we've added 3/4 of a cup of white sugar to it. And now we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar to our goodies.
Did you know that brown sugar is just regular white sugar with molasses?
Yes, it is. It's just dyed kind of with that sweetened molasses. And the dark brown sugar just is more molasses, right? There's not a huge difference otherwise flavor profile wise to it.
Yeah. Did you know that unless the recipe specifically calls for a certain kind of sugar, you can exchange white sugar and brown sugar?
You sure can. And it will change it just a little bit. Like chocolate chip cookies, like brown sugar chocolate chip cookies with like that little bit, just gives it like a little extra crunch and a little extra flavor. It's really nice. All right, so let's do a little recap. In our bowl, we have 2 sticks of butter. We have 3/4 of a cup of white sugar and 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. And we're going to go ahead and give that a mix. So I'm going to put mine. Yep, you can do that. And if you're starting with an electric mixer, start off slow so you don't end up with like in your face, right? I'm going to just get my mixer head. Now, the instructions say for this recipe to use your paddle attachment. And I'm going to be honest, we moved last year at the end of the year, and we've been under construction in our new house ever since. I can't find my paddle attachment, so I have a whisk, right? That's the one I've got, and it's better than nothing. So we're going to mix that up until our butter and our sugar is all creamy together. Sound good? Awesome sauce. Here we go.
Never take your hands off the bowl.
Safety first, right? Always. So you can start off on a low temperature, and then as it gets moving, you can crank it up to a little bit of a higher, not temperature, speed. You can crank it up to a little bit of a higher speed. It looks like Kaylee is grabbing a whisk. You can sort of push your ingredients down. Sometimes they'll creep up the side of the bowl, and you need to give them a little push down to make sure that they are all mixed in nicely. There we go. Ooh, that's looking good. All right, how are we looking, Kaylee?
Ooh, that looks good.
Yum, right? And it's nice and creamy because the butter is nice and soft.
I still have a bit of sugar left in mine.
There you go. We'll let Kaylee finish mixing hers, and then we're going to get ready to add some more ingredients. All right, I'm going to put my whisk back on my mixer here. Ta-da! All right, how's it looking now, Kaylee?
Amazing.
I love it. All right, we have 2 more ingredients to add. The first thing we're going to add are 2 eggs. So my number one tip for adding eggs is, if cracking eggs is a new skill for anyone who's watching, I would suggest cracking your eggs into a little bowl and then pouring them into our big bowl. Because if you've got an eggshell, fishing it out of here is not going to be fun. Okay.
You should always crack your eggs on a flat surface. Hit it hard, hit it quick.
There you go. Excellent.
Excellent.
I love it. I live for a good baking pun, Kaylee. All right.
You cracked me up.
All right, so I've got my 2 eggs done. Next step is washing of hands, because I've got raw egg on my hands. So take your time, Kaylee, and when you're ready, you can wash your hands too. There we go. Excellent. And friends who are watching, at any point, if you have a little downtime during our baking, clean up a little bit, right? While my mixer was going, I recycled my graham cracker box and threw out my butter wrappers and all that kind of stuff. It's so much more fun to bake if when you're done, you don't have a mountain of mess to clean up, right? If you kind of clean as you go, it makes way more sense. Yeah. All right, 2 eggs in the bowl. Yes, Kaylee?
Yes.
Love it. Next step, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract.
2 teaspoons coming right up.
Coming right up. When you use, okay, so friends, I'm all about saving money when you can, but please, 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 please buy good vanilla extract when you're baking, right?
Yeah.
The artificial vanilla extract is way cheaper. I totally get that. But if you ever Google where they get artificial vanilla extract from, it's disgusting. So go with the good stuff. Are you gonna tell us?
We get our vanilla extract from Mexico.
Do you?
But did you know that vanilla comes from an orchid?
I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
The vanilla bean orchid.
Look at that. I am learning so much here today. I love that. I had a student once years ago who made her own vanilla extract. She would put her vanilla bean pods, I guess, in vodka and let it ferment and do its thing. And I'm sure it was delicious, right? I've had students who've come to class with honey from their own hives, who've had eggs from their own chickens. Like, it's fantastic. I love it when those things happen. Somebody in the comments said, cracking eggs like a pro is my one true superpower. I love that. I'm very happy for you because that is an awesome superpower. That is a good one. All right. So we've added eggs and vanilla to our bowl. We are going to give this another mix again. Sound good, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. All right. And with all that liquid added in, we sure have changed the consistency of our mixture, haven't we?
Yeah.
I like it. How's yours looking, Kaylee?
Really nice and almost liquidy.
Yeah. It's got more of like a fluid, a flowy texture to it now, doesn't it? While Kaylee's mixing, I'm always just taking a few minutes to clean up. So I'm putting away my granulated sugar over here. Anything we're done with is going away because when this is done, I'm ready to sit back and wait for my cookie bars to cool so I can eat them. I don't want to have to clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just emptying out my whisk here so I can bring my bowl back over. There we go. Ta-da! It's beautiful. All right. Looking good, Kaylee.
Oh, what's your favorite kitchen utensil?
Oh my goodness, that's really hard. Okay. Let's see. I mean, so I've got a couple, right? If I can go bold and give you a couple. The first is my KitchenAid stand mixer I got as a present for my 12th birthday. And it's still going strong. It is amazing. That KitchenAid mixer has moved more times than I can tell you because of my husband's job. It just keeps getting boxed up and moved, and it just keeps going. I have a second one that I got at a garage sale for $10. I know. It was like how I didn't even need a second one, but I was like, I'm buying it as a backup just in case. So I do love it. Every once in a while it makes like an oddball noise and my husband takes it apart and he cleans it really well, but it just keeps on going. So I do love that. I love it. I love it. And then I love the attachments for it. I have the ice cream bowl and the vegetable shredder, the meat shredder or like meat grinder. I got the sifter and scale, which was really cool for making French macarons so that you don't have to sift by hand. It just does it all on its own. So I love those.
Yeah, and with the ice cream maker bowl, I've even made my own sorbet from our fruit that we grow in our own yard.
That's so cool. What kind of fruits do you grow, Kaylee?
Raspberries and blueberries.
I love it.
Yeah, and we also we are growing elderberry.
Oh, yum. That sounds amazing. I love it. Coralie is baking along and says that measuring cups and the whisk are her favorites. I do love a good whisk. I adore like a really good, solid quality whisk that's nice and strong. So that's a good one. How about you, Kaylee? What's your favorite kitchen gadget?
A scooper spatula.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it's a spatula city.
Yeah, is it really?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and add some more ingredients. What do you say, friends?
Yeah.
Ready, Freddy. Okay, so we are going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now I'm baking gluten-free, friends, right? So I've got my little label there, gluten-free flour. I'm using the King Arthur gluten-free mix. So go ahead, Kaylee.
Are we doing this in the same bowl or a different bowl?
Good question. I am going to put mine right in to my wet bowl. I'm going to add my 3 cups of flour right in there. And then we're going to add a little bit more ingredients too. But we're starting with that one. Now, I have this canister that I keep all my goodies in. I have one for all my baking goodies, but it's kind of narrow. And so I use half-cup scoopers in there because the cup one is just a little too big to try and navigate in that narrow passageway there. So I'm going to do 6 half-cup scoops instead.
What is the difference between bleached flour and unbleached?
That's such an amazing question, Kaylee. And I think I've never gone super deep into it, but just the processing of the wheat. I tend to mostly bake gluten-free, so I don't have that encounter very often. But I have a child with a severe wheat allergy, so I don't bake with a lot of wheat flour. I know, yeah, but that's why I've got gluten-free. He's got a bunch of allergies, so I've got gluten-free marshmallow or gluten-free graham crackers, gluten-free flour, and I've got vegan marshmallows for him. So he's ready to dive in when we're done. All right, so we've got our 3 cups of flour in. Yes, Kaylee?
Yeah.
You're amazing. Okay, next up, we're going to do 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. 3/4 teaspoon baking soda.
Sadly, it's not actual carbonated soda.
There you go. Yeah. I buy oodles of baking soda because we like to make our own toothpaste, and baking soda is one of the top ingredients for toothpaste. So I buy big Costco-sized quantities of it in order to mix it up.
Yeah, we've actually made our own toothpaste before. Peppermint.
Yes, you can add a little essential oil in there. It works out really well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like it. All right, and then our last ingredient for the moment is 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So if you're like me and you used salted butter, you can cut that down a little bit if you want to 1/4 or a half. Or if you just really love salty and sweet like I do, go ahead and add all of it if you'd like. Go for it. And we're good to go. So a little recap, we've added 3 cups of flour, and then 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda each. So we've added those, and we are going back to the mixer. Did you guess it, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Back to the mixer. Here we go.
Mix it, mix it, mix it.
Again, start out slow because all that powder we just added is going to poof up into your face if you're not careful.
Yep.
Start out slow and then go high.
And be careful not to create a snowstorm.
Exactly. That's the last thing we want, right? Is to have to clean up that afterwards. I always tell my students that in my classes, I'm like, you'll never be allowed to come bake with me again if you leave the kitchen a disaster. So clean it up as you go and try to be careful, right? Because I know as a mom, I love hands-on learning. I have homeschooled kids. I love it. I love it. But if they leave my kitchen a disaster, I'm going to be a little hesitant to sign them up again if I'm the one who ended up having to clean it up. I love it. Look at that doughy texture. Yum. So good. So good. So good. All right. I think I'm going to have enough dough to make 2 batches. If you joined us late, I was telling Kaylee, I ordered my graham crackers online from Earth Fare, and they came this morning. And I bought, because I ordered gluten-free graham crackers, I got this tiny little package that's so small. So I ended up baking a smaller bowl than what or baking a smaller dish than what Kaylee's working with. So I will probably have some extra dough that I can experiment with later. It might even be fun to bake this dough and make like cake pops or something later. That could be pretty fun. With some chocolate ganache and some graham cracker crumbs. All right. So I'm just working the dough out of my whisk, all the little bits that are stuck there, because we are done with our electric mixer. How's your batter looking, Kaylee?
Very crumbly because my dough is being very stubborn and not mixing.
Oh no. I'm going to give my hands a quick rinse because when I cleaned my whisk, I got a little dirty. Yeah, you can always get some muscle in there too, Kaylee.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably try.
When in doubt, right? Use your built-in mixers. Right? There you go. It's amazing the difference too. Like, for example, I know when we make buttercream, depending on the powdered sugar that you're using, the consistency of buttercream can change drastically, even just from brand to brand of buttercream, or powdered sugar. Sorry. Like, for example, I love the supermarket brand for the supermarket that's near me, and I've tried them all. That's my favorite. It makes a really moist buttercream. But then, like, if I bake with the 365 one from Whole Foods, it's so dry, and I need so much heavy cream to compensate for the same amount of powdered sugar. It's not bad. It's just that you have to change the ratio. So it could just be the difference in one of our brands of ingredients, even, Kaylee, that made the change in one batter to another. Small little differences. The other one too is like how soft butter is will make a huge difference. If our butter was a slightly different texture, that'll make a change too. So we are good. How's everybody at home doing who's baking? Coming along nicely. All right.
And the reason I believe that the reason that your buttercream with the variation of butter and stuff, that's why cooking notes are important.
Yeah, it's so true, right? Because I change almost every recipe. Usually the first time I make something, I try to keep it like kind of sort of close to what is in the recipe, just as my baseline. But then after that, all bets are off. I'm going to change like half of it, right? Make it my own. All right, we have two last ingredients to add to this before it goes in the oven, and we don't need our electric mixer for these. For this one, we can use a spatula or a big wooden spoon, but we are going to add 1 cup of mini marshmallows. 1 cup of mini marshmallows, yum. If you are vegan and you've avoided marshmallows, I mean, everybody has to follow their own dietary preference, but these dandy ones are vegan and they're quite tasty. Right? Or if you keep kosher, these, let's see. Yep, these are kosher as well, which I kind of thought, but I just wanted to check before I misspoke. Yeah, go ahead, Kaylee.
If you say 1 cup, I measure with my heart.
Especially when it comes to marshmallows, right?
Yeah, and garlic.
In my house, garlic too. I always used to joke around because when we lived in Florida, our Whole Foods had a hot food bar and they had these like string beans that had these huge garlic, like just chunks of garlic mixed in. And my daughter would fish out the garlic. So she had like an equal string bean to garlic ratio. And I was like, thank goodness you are homeschooled, girl, because if you took that to school lunch, you'd have no friends in the afternoon as soon as you breathed on somebody, right? Like it would be bad. Everybody would be like, oh my goodness. All right. And then our last addition is going to be a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. I'm using semi-sweet minis just because that's what was in my pantry, but you can use the full-size morsels also. Look at, oh my gosh, it smells so good. And so once we've got that in there, we can just give it a nice mix with a spatula or a wooden spoon. We don't want to use, or your built-in mixers, as Kaylee showed us before, right? That works too. It's kind of fun that we're doing our bake along on Friday, Kaylee, because it's like it's the weekend, right? We can kick off the weekend with maybe like a barbecue outside or campfire night at home. Have you gone camping before, Kaylee?
Yes, I have many times in our backyard.
I love that. That's so much fun. Camping in the backyard is kind of a great mixture of everything because if you really have to pee, you can just run inside, right? You don't have to find a shrub, right?
And water the flowers.
Yes, exactly, right? Oh my goodness, this looks delicious. Or should I say yummalicious since you're my guest today, Kaylee?
Nobody can say yummalicious.
You've got it trademarked. It's like your proprietary phrase.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go with like scrumptious then. How's that?
That's good.
Okay, I'll have my own. All right, are you looking well mixed over there, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we are going to take our dough and we are going to spread it evenly over our graham crackers that we put in our pan at the beginning of our bake along. And that is most likely going to involve getting hands in the mix. It's pretty hard to spread dough with a gadget, in my experience.
Yeah, but I've come to a decision. You can say yummalicious.
Oh, I'm like an honorary yummalicious today. I'm so excited. Thank you.
But you have to subscribe to my channel.
Okay, I'm all about it. I love it. I get so excited whenever Kaylee has a class because she always posts updates on social media. And so she posts what she's made for dinner that night. And so in the spring semester, I only teach one non-baking class on Outschool. I have a book club. And so I would come out of book club and I would check the social channels and there would be Kaylee's dinner. And I was like, oh, what a treat to come out of book club and find what Kaylee's making tonight. I love it. All right, so I've got my hands in here and I'm just kind of spreading my dough around and trying to get it nice and even. I am totally going to have leftover dough since I ended up opting for a smaller pan at the last moment to accommodate my tiny graham cracker haul. If I had been thinking ahead, I could have bought 2 boxes of graham crackers, but I forgot that the gluten-free ones come so itty-bitty compared to the regular boxes.
That's because they have only half the ingredients.
So, and it's just so much more expensive to make that they tend to come in smaller packages. And again, I forget. I couldn't even tell you. I probably paid like $9 for this tiny little thing of graham crackers. Yes. Always extra. But if it's safe for my kiddo, then I'm in. All right, so look at that layering. Ooh, we've got graham crackers on the bottom. That's the fun of a clear pan, right? And then we've got our cookie dough on top. Now, Kaylee, since you like measuring things with your heart, you're going to love this next part. Are you ready? You have the option, if you would like, to add some extra marshmallows to the top and give it a little sprinkle on top.
Yes.
I mean, who's going to say no to that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm adding a few extra since I've got them. Why not? I'm inspired by Kaylee's emotional measurement system and I'm going with it. Okay.
My mom unexpected we threw the marshmallows at me.
She was like, toss them on, Kaylee. What's your favorite thing that you've ever baked or cooked on in one of your Outschool classes, Kaylee?
No.
Too hard to say?
Yeah. Well, I did like one of the BLT sandwiches. It was in my very first class. Oh, and I also loved the ceviche.
Yes. Had you ever made or eaten ceviche before that?
Nope.
Oh, so you got exposed to something new. That's always fun.
Yes, it is.
I like it. Very good. All right. So while you're adding, I'm not telling anybody, Kaylee, I'm all for your sampling as we bake. It's all good.
Another one of my favorites was making smash burgers.
Ooh, those are quite trendy right now. I see them like on Pinterest and stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. So let's talk next step. So you ready? Okay. So we are going to put this in the oven. Our oven is preheated at 375. We're going to pop this in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. And what we're looking is for the center to come, it'll firm up. We'll get like a little golden brown around the edges, right? And when our timer beeps at about, I would say set your timer for 25 minutes because it's really hard to unburn things. Like it's not possible to unburn things. So I'd always rather start at 25 and then add more time if you need, right? At 25 minutes, you can stick a toothpick right in the center and see if it comes out clean. Now, if you hit a marshmallow or a chocolate chip, it's not going to come out clean because those are going to stay gooey. So if it comes out white and gooey or chocolate and gooey, get a new toothpick and find a new spot, right? And get where it's just cookie-ish, all right? So let's pop that in the oven and set a timer. And then we still have our chocolate bars kicking around. So once we get that in the oven and set our timer, I'll tell you what we're going to do with those. It's not eat them. I'm sorry to disappoint. I mean, you can nibble, you can test, but here we go. Alexa, set a timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes, starting now.
There you go. Ironically, since it's Great Outschool Campout month, you can, and I only just found this out, if you have one of the screen devices in your kitchen, you can tell her, you know who I'm talking about. If I say her name, she'll get feisty, Alexa. There's a national park setting on there, and she scrolls through pictures of the national parks. So whenever you set a timer, there's like Old Faithful from Yellowstone is going off and stuff. It's really pretty cool. I didn't know it was a thing, and it was on the screen like, hey, activate national park mode one day, and I did it, and it's been fun. Okay, so our very last thing is our chocolate bars. So because I ordered my groceries from Earth Fare, I do not have Hershey bars, which is pretty standard s'more stuff, right? I have like non-GMO fair trade chocolate, definitely not a Hershey bar, but Hershey bars are pretty standard s'more fare, right? So here we go. When our cookie bars are done, we are going to let them cool for about a half an hour, which is going to be such a really difficult lesson in patience. Okay. So when they come out, we're going to break up our chocolate bars and put them over the top, right? So we're not covering it across the top. I mean, you can if you want to, but we're going to kind of break them up and put like a piece here and a piece there and a piece here, kind of a sprinkling of chocolate bars on the top, right? Right when it comes out of the oven. So because it's hot from the oven, we're going to get a nice melty chocolate bar, right? And then we're going to let it cool for a half an hour. So our marshmallows will cool, our chocolate bar will do its thing. It'll kind of melt and set where it needs to be. And then they're ready to slice and eat. Sound good?
Yeah, it'll look like modern art.
Yes, it will, right? We have a kind of a Jackson Pollock dessert going on, right? It'll be good. All right. So here's what I promise. When mine come out of the oven and I put my chocolate bars on and they're cool and everything, before my kids devour them, which will be quick, I will snap a photo and share it in the group. Will you share a picture of yours too, Kaylee? Will you have mom post it in the Facebook group?
Yes, she will.
Awesome sauce. I can't wait to see them. All right. So friends, if you are watching this and you'd like any cooking or baking class recommendations from either myself or Kaylee, go ahead and pop them in the comments, and either myself or Kaylee's mom or Kaylee will circle back with any of that information, and we can share some of your amazing recommendations and get those out to everybody. Please, please, please share a photo of your cookie bars when they're done. You got to be quick because the kids eat them fast. It goes fast, right? You got to be quick. Share that, and we can't wait to see. Check out the events tab in our Facebook groups because, like I said, we have paper quilling, we have nature journaling, we have campfire storytelling, We have so much stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. And that's before the Great Outschool Campout even officially starts. That's the last weekend of the month. There's going to be book authors from Patagonia coming. There's all kinds of stuff happening. So if you need details on any of that, comment. I will circle back later and check the comments and answer any questions that come in. So I will say Kaylee and I had some technical difficulties getting into the studio today. For some reason, the system that we use for streaming wasn't recognizing me as the host. And somebody had to kind of help me get it started because technology was not being nice to me. And now that we're live, I'm just realizing I hope I can get it to turn off, right? Because it's not use those. Kaylee, we might be here till dinner time. What are we going to make for dinner? I don't know. But hopefully if we both just leave the studio at the end, it'll stop live streaming. We'll find out. So good stuff. Kaylee, thank you so much for joining me today. Are you going to be putting this on your YouTube channel or live streaming any of this later or blogging about it?
Maybe on Instagram. But thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's been a great honor.
You're so welcome. I was so happy when you said yes, because I was like, I've been watching your videos for so long, and I was like, we need Kaylee to come on and bake. It'll be so much fun. So thank you. And enjoy your cookie bars and summer and everything else. And I will see you on social media the next time you bake something amazing or cook something amazing in class. I'll be the one drooling on my keyboard as I respond to the comments. Okay. Awesome. Have a great rest of your day, Kaylee. And there should be a button at the bottom that says leave studio. Usually I end the broadcast, but the button isn't there. So let's try it and hopefully we disappear. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.